Want you to take a look at this. This is the latest edition of Memphis Magazine, and it's the City Guide. And I always remark at how awesome the cover looks, how pretty, how beautiful. Check that out. The animation is spectacular, and you can see all the different various landmarks and staples across Memphis and the Mid-South right there. Let's bring in the editor of Memphis Magazine, the CEO of Contemporary Media, Anna Fogle, joining us on the Action News 5 digital desk. Anna, the City Guide is a big issue each and every year. How does this year compare to others? Good morning.
Hey, Andrew. Good morning. So great to see you. Yeah, we are just delighted with this year's City Guide. We're always trying to think about how to keep it fresh. This is actually the 40th year that we have been producing a City Guide. So it's an exciting issue for us just to think back on all the different incarnations that City Guide has had over those years. And this one especially just feels really special, really personal to us. The cover illustration is by Martha Park, who you may remember also illustrated our June cover for our medical Top Doctors issue. And for the cover, we chose to, as you said, just spotlight some of the different landmarks around town. Of course, there are so many more that we could have featured, but this actually ties into one of my favorite features in City Guide this year, sort of a new thing that we did this year, which was to explore different neighborhoods around the city. I don't know about you, but I feel like Memphis is such a city of neighborhoods that have their own distinct flavor and character. And so we just really wanted to dive into those and talk about what makes them so special. And so Martha illustrated some really beautiful landmarks that represent different neighborhoods. And the cover is a condensation of all of those, but there's much more inside as well.
I love it. I love it. I love the cover, and I love the neighborhoods that Memphis has. I think you're right. Each neighborhood has, its own personality, and it doesn't matter where you go in East Memphis or Midtown, and in the different neighborhoods, Evergreen and Central Gardens and Cooper Young. I mean, they're all very distinctive in their own right, and it's really enjoyable to see the various neighborhoods, and so that is a part of this year's City Guide. For someone who doesn't know or isn't familiar with Memphis Magazine, can you explain exactly what the City Guide is?
Sure. So the City Guide is, as the name might give away, sort of an introduction to all things Memphis, or a reintroduction for those of us who maybe have been here for longer. We, in the early days, used to refer to it as a newcomer's guide. And then we realized that actually most of our readers are people who are already living here and might just appreciate some more information. Yeah, we include features about all manner of Memphis culture, life in Memphis. So there's a story about Memphis music. And this year, Alex Green, our music writer, chose to focus on the hard rock coming out of Memphis. Not necessarily something that we might think of immediately, but there's actually a really long history here and a lot of great art coming out of here in that sphere. We also have a story about what's going on with the Metal Museum's move to Overton Park and what all that's going to look like. Of course, we have our annual Who's Who selections. So we each year in August do a rundown of the city's newsmakers and movers and shakers. So if you aren't familiar with the people who make Memphis the town that it is, that's at least a good place to start. Of course, there are, as always, with so much of what we do, so many more people that could be included, but this is a little over 100. and just try to give a great breadth of people who are working in different areas of the city. And there's really so much more as well in the City Guide. There's a story about sports, and Frank Murtaugh, our sports writer, talks about really things to be excited about and things to be grateful for in Memphis sports. I think it's been a year where there have been maybe a few things in the local sports community that have not been as happy, but we try to have really good vibes in our City Guide. So Frank wanted to put a spotlight on things that are going well, things to celebrate. So there's just so much like that.
Fantastic. I can't wait to read it. I'm sure it's in my mailbox today. I wanted to go back just to kind of look at the cover just a little bit and see if I can get all the different landmarks that you have there.
Yeah, it's a pop quiz.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking upper left. Is that the zoo or no?
Upper left is the Orange Mound Tower. So that's right. the building in Orange Mound that you can see from Lamar. That the good folks at Tone, the Black Arts Alliance, are working on a very long range plan to restore and turn into a cultural and creative hub.
I love it. Yes, yes. And then the house next to it.
The house is just a house. So, when we were talking about this cover with Martha, we talked about the idea to spotlight different neighborhoods. And so one of the things that we decided to do was to include some quieter scenes that just gave a sense of what it might be like if you're driving through Memphis on a summer evening. And so we wanted to just give that quiet residential community feeling in that house, and then also the one on the bottom row. And then I'm sure the third piece of the top row.
Right. So Overton Park Shell. Then we have on the second line Graceland, the Overton Park entrance there, and then we have Ballet Memphis.
So that's actually collage. So yeah, that is collage dance collective that you see if you're coming in on Sam Cooper. And they have those really big like picture windows over at Collage, and it's a beautiful facility. Of course, we love Ballet Memphis too, yes. But we included Collage as sort of a doorway into the Binghamton neighborhood. And again, when we talked about this with Martha, we talked about wanting to give a sense of the interplay between the outside and the inside. So you'll see little dancers in the windows there. And it's just this sense of like seeing the building, but also seeing the life that's happening within it. So I love the glow from those windows and the dancers.
Yeah, no, that's a great animation there. Of course, Stax Museum is right there on the bottom left, and then Gibson's Donuts. What that's surprising to me.
Yeah, so we wanted to include something that felt very East Memphis, and we love that old neon sign that they have. And if you read the neighborhoods feature that Frank actually wrote on his neighborhood of East Memphis, one of the things that he talks about is stopping by and grabbing some donuts.
Fantastic. Well, we all love Gibson's Donuts. What's not to love? So appreciate that. Anna, it's fantastic. I can't wait. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we let you go on the City Guide?
Just want to thank, my team for their efforts. This is one of our bigger issues that we put out over the course of any given year. So it is a labor of love, and maybe emphasis on the labor part. They worked really hard to put this together for our community and our readers. So just an amazing team of creatives and of salespeople who work to make independent local work like this possible. And I just am so grateful for all of them, and to y'all for giving us the chance to spotlight it.
Absolutely. All right. Anna Traverse Fogle, we appreciate you, editor of Memphis Magazine, CEO of Contemporary Media. Thanks so very much for joining us.